Hello, 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 y'all. Welcome, welcome. Hello, 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 y'all. Hey, Shem. Welcome. I'm excited to be here with y'all today. For those of you who are here right now, you've chances are seeing the Discord notification and how the title of this stream is different from the title on the schedule. And for that, I apologize. The topic of this stream has changed. I'm assuming that the viewer number on this stream will be lower than some other streams because of that. That people who are excited for Firebase are no longer going to show up. And that makes sense. And also, I'm still really excited for the stream, and I think it is going to be a better stream than if I was doing a stream on Firebase. For those of you who have not been to one of my streams before, hello, I'm Dimmer. I'm a coach at Major League Hacking. Please don't put an exclamation point after the Twitch link. Ah, I thought I had a space there. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. Great, it's fixed. I understand now. I did a slightly different process for writing this announcement. Let me check to see if that happened on my previous announcement. Yeah, okay, that's apparently been an issue for a while. Thank you for letting me know. I did not realize that. Hello, hello, welcome. Some people are still trickling in. Yes, yesterday as well, we got you. Thank you. Okay, so yeah, we're going to be working with Supabase today, which for those of you who have not been to my previous streams this week, is an open source Firebase alternative. Those of you who've been to my streams for a really long time might notice that the music is slightly different. There is another album by the artist that I use for lo-fi music that has been released. So we have a bunch of new lo-fi music. Hello, hello, hello. Hey, Pharaoh, welcome. Excited to see you here. But yeah, we're going to be using Supabase, which, those of you who've been to other my streams this week, you will know that I have changed VPN providers, and I am a robot because of it. And I am bad at CAPTCHAs, so I've taken to doing them on stream. Okay, so if it takes me a while, we can at least laugh about it. Hey, Green Yoshi, welcome. So yeah, Supabase sells itself as the open source Firebase alternative, and it is not entirely true because Firestore, the database as part of Firebase, is a NoSQL database, whereas Supabase uses a Postgres database. But in essence, it provides a database authentication. I don't know what it's referring to when it says instant APIs. I honestly don't know what that is referring to. Edge functions, a la cloud functions, real-time subscriptions, a la real-time layer on top of your SQL database, file storage, and vector embeddings. But the cool thing about it is that it is open source. So specifically, you can, just like you can with Firebase, use the free tier, which has a shocking amount of space and storage and things like that available to you. But you can also host it yourself, which is what we're going to be doing today because I am on a self-hosting kick right now. Those of you who went to, it was not last month, but 2 months ago, we hosted a Python script in a Docker instance that is still running in the corner over there. And we're going to be adding another Docker instance to that Raspberry Pi running Supabase. So that is today. We are going to be building on top of a previous project that we started, but previously we've just written the front end, and today we're working with something completely different. So we've built a Svelte app that, forgot how, why did this get reordered like this? Something weird happened here. Some, like, opinionated styling system happened to my code. There we go. That looks more familiar to me. We're using Svelte for a front end. And yeah, so we've built this front end. This front end is literally a button that on click prints the current Unix timestamp to chat. And we are going to be first building out our database today. And then we're going to be connecting our database to this app. And then fingers crossed, if we have time, we will be hosting this app on that server as well and making both of them available to the public internet through Cloudflare Tunnel. so that you can self-host something and still have other people access it securely and safely. Theoretically, fingers crossed. That's kind of a tall order, so we'll see if we're able to successfully do all of that, but we are at least going to be self-hosting Supabase, the Postgre database there, and we are going to be using that with our front end here. Sounds cool. I'm really excited about this project, Green Yoshi, and I'm excited about this more than I was about Firebase, because Firebase is wonderful, but Firebase does a lot of things for you, which again is wonderful. But I don't have a whole lot of experience with this, and I realized when I was starting this week that I was like jumping in slightly too far ahead of where my skills were, where I was trying to learn the theory of how to structure a NoSQL database, but I had never written like real database code before. I like have used it in a couple of projects, but that was a long time ago. So I didn't like have the context of like what I needed from my database to be able to make those opinionated choices. I had no idea you could do even that much with a Raspberry Pi. Awesome. A Raspberry Pi is not the ideal situation for this. Do not go out and buy a Raspberry Pi to act as a server. It works just like any computer. You can run Linux in a Docker container on it. I think it is better to use like an older computer or a used computer or something like that, where you can get better cooling and performance out of it than the Raspberry Pi. Raspberry Pis were wonderful because they were so cheap. Now they're more expensive and you have other options. If you have a Raspberry Pi, they're frequently hackathon prizes. This is a good use for them. And if you want to buy a Raspberry Pi for other reasons or already own one, this is a good use for it. But keeping it janky, yes. 100% keeping it janky. But I'm excited for that because that jank is a good learning experience, because through the jank, I learn about things that I did not know existed before. With that, we're going to go ahead and get started here. So we need to do a couple of things. I'm going to... I'm going to rearrange some things that I did here. I have this learning goals here, which I'm just going to move into our project here so I can access it. Theoretically, I don't need to do that anyway. We're going to set our goals for today. Goals for 5/13/24. The dumb American way of writing dates. And what do we want to do? We want to create a local instance of Supabase on my laptop in a Docker instance. Then we want to deploy that Docker instance to our Raspberry Pi. We then want to connect our Pi instance to our front end. And that would be a lovely for writing. That would be a wonderful progress today. We then eventually want to also do reading, specifically real-time reading, and then again, that like hosting with Cloudflare Tunnel. But this is our goal for today. And as such, I'm going to do the thing that I've done fairly frequently, which is use a speedrun timer. It is Global Hack Week Data. Today we are doing a Supabase. And I guess it's a like hosted percent, where we don't need to do everything. We just need to do enough to get it hosted. So it's kind of an any percent. Anyway, we're doing a Supabase speedrun. And let's think about what we need to do. So we need to set up local Docker. I'm just going to call that local Docker. It's more readable. We have local Docker. And then we need local Supabase. We then need to deploy Docker. And then we need to connect Supabase. And those should theoretically be the four large... Why is setup button there? That should be local Docker. Local Docker, local Supabase, deploy Docker, connect Supabase. I don't have icons for that. Okay. And how long do we have? We have 1 hour and 45 minutes. I'm going to call it 1 hour and 40 minutes. I think we can set up a local Docker instance in 20 minutes. Let's give it 15. The local Supabase instance, let's give 25. Deploying Docker, I think we can do in 15. Maybe that's optimistic. That gives us around 40 minutes to connect Supabase. That's an hour, 35 minutes. That gets us done 10 minutes early. I think this is the times that I will lay out as our goals so that when things change, I have 10 minutes of wiggle room. We have a quiet chat today, which is totally okay, but feel free to ask any questions related or unrelated to the topic at hand. And also, TTS is on whenever this icon is showing, where you can use the exclamation point TTS command, and your message in chat will be read out loud by TTS. Along with, there are channel point rewards, which you can see below Twitch chat. It's the little purple circle. If you click on that, you can redeem channel points, which you get just by watching the stream, to make funny sounds and things like that. It's very fun. I'm going to connect our speedrun timer here to my stream. Great. Maybe 20 minutes for tangents. The 10-minute leeway is for tangents. Yes, all of it is explicitly for tangents. Okay. I think that is a good starting point. We have our goals. We have what we want to work on. We have estimated how long we want to work on it. Let's get started. So, there are a couple of things here. Again, we are starting with our local Docker instance, but we want that Docker instance to make sure it can run Supabase. So let me take a look here and clean up my tabs. We don't need the Svelte documentation right now. Svelte. This is the documentation for JavaScript, which we'll need once we are linking it, but we don't need it right now because currently we're looking to host it first. JavaScript, haha, our shadcn UI debacle from last time. We don't need that. And now we're on Supabase. So let's go to the documentation here. And you'll see here we have local development, platform, and self-hosting. Now, theoretically, you would do local development and then deploy to one of these. But part of the purpose of this is to go through and deploy it first. So we're going to go self-hosting here. Officially supported. Docker, great, amazing. Docker is the easiest way to get started with self-hosted Supabase. This guide assumes you are running the command from the machine you intend to host from. Now here's the question. Do we want to skip the way that I structured this and just go right to doing it all on the Raspberry Pi? I personally think that that kind of Shem says yes. Interesting. Part of me wants to do that. Part of me feels like that defeats the purpose of Docker. That I could set it up on my computer and then move the Docker instance over to the Raspberry Pi. I'm going to read through this first and then I'll make that decision. I think the smart thing is to do what the documentation suggests, but we'll see. So, wait, that's... Okay. So we clone their code. We go into the Docker folder of their code. Copy the fake environment variables. Pull the latest images. Start the services. Oh. Oh. I understand now. So, Green Yoshi, what would you normally do in such a case?
Light bulb moment.
The reason why I was confused was because the last time that we used Docker, we were deploying the code that we wrote ourselves, where Docker was being used as like our deployment machine. In this case, we are not writing or editing their code. We are skipping right to deployment. So the reason I did it on my computer first was so that I could edit the code on my computer, that I could get it working and then deploy it. This is already deployment ready. So we just need to use Docker in order to deploy their instance. Like, I am not going to be changing the code in git clone here for Supabase. So yeah, we should run this directly from the Raspberry Pi, which means the structure for the speedrun timer is completely, totally off, and we're going to redo it. One of the reasons I like doing the speedrun timer is, one, it gives context for people who are just coming to the stream, but also it is a good practice of practicing estimating how long things take for things like sprint planning and stuff like that. Okay, so what we actually want to do is spin up. Actually, it is Supabase on Pi. I'm going to say that this takes 30 minutes because I've never done it before. And then we want is accessing Supabase. I guess I'll say Supabase from Mac. So accessing it from my computer and the code that's running on my computer, which I'm going to say, let's give 20 minutes to that. And then we are going to do writing to Supabase, which I'm going to give 40 minutes. Cut. Those are in seconds. Which is an hour and a half, which still keeps up with that 10-minute buffer. Now I'm going to do this again. Great. Now we have more accurate goals. And one of the first things that I'm going to do is I'm going to open my terminal. And I'm going to try figuring out how to SSH into that Raspberry Pi again. Oh, goodness, I should have saved this. Okay, I'm going to take advantage of the fact that this is live streamed, and we're going to go to the MLH YouTube channel. Okay. And under live, we're actually going to search for dimmer here. Hey, that looks familiar. Setting up a containerized development environment. I'm going to look for when I had the terminal up to see what the IP address, the local IP address of my server is. That's all local stuff. I might need the second stream. Still local development, local development. Okay. Dimmer container. Deploying containers. This is the one we're looking for. Here's my terminal. I'm already in the Raspberry Pi at this point. I know this is riveting content right here, me watching my own stream back, but this is the fastest way I can think of remembering the IP address and username. .72. And the username is server. Okay. So we want to SSH into server at 192.168.1.72. Okay. Do I remember the password? Cool. Okay. Great. I have gotten back in to our Raspberry Pi. Now, we already have Docker installed and Git, so we theoretically can run this Git clone. Oh, wait, First, I should set up a file structure here. Where do I have my... I don't know where my files are for my other Docker that is running on this. Do I have... No, that wouldn't make sense. Okay. We're going to put this in documents. Really? Am I putting it in documents? That seems weird. But where else would they be? Not in desktop. Please don't tell me it's in downloads. No. Docker is installed. That's also what I'm trying to think of right now. The command list for the current things. Green Yoshi, I'm sorry I glanced over at chat at just the right moment to catch that. A good attempt. Images. List images. List containers, PS. Okay. It is up. LOL, you saw... I thought you saw it. Yeah, I did. We can see that it's there. It's been up for 7 days. That was a valiant effort. It was. I want to make sure that I encourage the effort. Where are Docker files on Linux? var lib docker. Do I have Docker in here? I do. Ooh, didn't have permission for that. Command not found. CD is a shell built-in command. It cannot be run directly. The -s option. Maybe it's run a privileged shell. -d option to run a command in a specific directory. Now I'm root user. That's scary. Okay. Root user. That the existence of Groot is weirdly funny. Anyway, okay. So the reason why this is interesting is because I just... okay. So what you're seeing right here is this is the container that I created on my computer, pushed to a container directory, and then pulled down the Raspberry Pi with all of the environment variables and things like that configured. What Supabase is asking is that you configure the environment variables on your server itself, which makes sense. In this case, it made sense to do that because I was writing this code which used the environment variables on my laptop first, but I understand now why cd great. In our documents then, unless I make a directory that's like Supabase, let's do that. Great. So in our user, we now have a Supabase directory, and within Supabase is where we're going to down. Okay, but when we download this, we're going to create a Supabase. So this should not be Supabase. MV, that's what it was, not RM. Great, I'm gonna call it server. Great. So that if I do more things in the future, I know where they're stored. We're going to clone Supabase. I do also want to remind people that you do not need to host this yourself. I want to host it myself because I think that is a really good learning experience of learning how these sort of systems work. But you can use the community cloud version. I'm honestly kind of surprised how slow this is. There we go. That's more like it. That's more like it. Fun fact, capital M, lowercase I-B is megabytes, I believe is the pronunciation. Not megabytes. Where MIB is a binary version, whereas megabytes is base 10. Megabytes is basically rounded. Hey, whoa. Let's try this again. I moved off when that happened, so I don't know why that occurred. Oh. There might be a horrible reality in which I don't... No, I have to have enough storage space for this. But I might not, because you're seeing it's 230, 240... Learning binary hurt my brain for a bit, but then it was a heck of a lot of fun. It is. Today I had my computer science class, and we were talking about hexadecimal, and that it is a representation of binary that is just there to be shorter for No. Uh-oh, I might not have space on this Raspberry Pi to do this. Hey, thanks for the follow, Ashish Twitch. This is not useful. This is not at all useful. I don't know how to read this. So hosting 2 programs on a Pi, the reason why we are doing that is because of Docker. Docker can theoretically host 2 instances at the same time, many instances at the same time on the same machine. Try dfvh. Thank you. Yeah. Dang. I do not have a whole lot of storage on this. And I don't know which one of these is trying to be used. Let's see, how large is this? Like, let's clone this on my laptop and see how large it is. That's why I was surprised you could host 2 programs on a Pi, the storage issue. I mean, theoretically, if I had a larger SD card in there, I could do more. Hey, I'm new to Twitch. Where can I find past MLH Global Hack Week videos? Those will be on our YouTube. We're going to let this download and go to YouTube here. And we're going to search for Major League Hacking. And in here, we're going to go live. And this right here are all of the previous MLH live streams. Shem beat me to it, but that is the link. Tip, if you're looking to find one of mine, you can always search Dimmer, because I make sure to put that in the stream title. So you can see me here. With all of my different hairs. It's wild how long I've been streaming with MLH at this point. That is a very fun expression. Okay. Let's see if this is done downloading. No, still downloading. Okay, now let's take a look at this. Where is this? There we go. How large is this folder? 1.83 gigs. Yeah, that's entirely our issue. This is why I don't necessarily think that a Raspberry Pi is the best instance for home server stuff. Okay, we now have a couple of things we can do. We're going to switch to standing. Thank you, Capsule. Okay. So the reason why I am like a little bit stumped right now is because we have multiple different options. And it basically depends on whether or not, let me switch to my face here. Hey, thanks for the follow, Capsule. It basically depends on whether or not we want to focus on self-hosting still, or if we want to use the cloud-hosted version of Supabase, which if we do that, we don't need to worry about any of this. But one of the exciting things about Supabase, the reason why I wanted to use it over Firebase was because it can self-host. Because Firebase's free cloud plan community stuff is good as well. So there seems to be less of a reason for that. Now, the other thing that we could do is okay, I'm going to finish that thought, but just know that I already think it's a bad idea. I was going to say we could focus on revamping the Raspberry Pi, because I have a larger SD card and I could just swap it. I would like swap the use cases of the two, which actually matches more with their actual uses in the real world. Because that SD card in there is 32. That's a 32 gig SD card. Why do I only have like 2 gigs of space? That's weird. Okay. Well, I theoretically have a 64, which should give us more space. But we're still kind of hamstrung. The other thing is I have an old laptop. Those of you who've been to my streams before know that this old laptop is unstable, let's say, with some like partially shorted RAM and it, not great. But it theoretically is currently running Arch Linux. And I could run a Docker instance on that, and we could use that as our home server. But I think that that is getting away from the point of my old laptop as a spicy pillow. RIP. Depending on the laptop, you can remove the pillow and just use it hardwired as a desktop. But that is, again, depending on the laptop. Some of them have their peak power draw greater than what their power adapter is rated for. So they're designed to pull from the battery even when plugged in. But I think that is getting away. Oh, it sucks. I was really excited for hosting this ourselves, but this will be a future stream. I guess this one will just be interacting with and getting to know Supabase, and we'll use the cloud-hosted version. Again, I'm disappointed, but also this is the smarter way of going about it, to like learn the technology before we try hosting it ourselves. Boo! I don't like learning things the smart way. I like learning things the fun way that makes me excited, and also I have horrible errors and I get so deep into tech debt an hour into a project that I completely restart, a la yesterday. This is, if I had more money, I would buy like an old Optiplex or something like that from some business. I'm keeping an eye out for when the university and my local library have their disposal sales of like if they're getting rid of any old machines, because that's a great way to get home servers. Because you aren't looking for peak processing power, you're just looking for something that has something. And old machines that were like computer lab computers or desk computers, that sort of thing, can be a good way to get those. So yeah, we're going to give up on our dreams of self-hosting and just use the Supabase cloud version. No worries, you'll come up with the next best thing to do so you can be excited about all of us. Oh yes, I'm still excited about this project, and I'm still excited about learning Supabase, because it does one of the things that kind of, this is me speaking on behalf of myself and not MLH or not any other organization. I get kind of scared making my personal projects on third-party services, because if they change their pricing model, my like personal project can go down. Because I am there only because they're free tiers. And a lot of businesses change their free tiers as economic conditions change, as shareholders change, as that sort of thing. So it is cool to think about some like older internet stuff of like owning and running all of your own stuff. That's not always feasible, but it is something that I think is cool. So it is cool that the idea that you can host Supabase. I do not currently have the infrastructure to do so. But oh goodness, do I want to? Okay. This will still be a good stream though. Hi, did you watch GPT-4o stream? It was amazing. I have not. I personally do not follow AI news anymore. I found it to generally be pretty depressing. Because yeah, I personally don't especially find that like hopeful or exciting. I have yet to see many use cases where generative AI actually makes people's lives better. So no, I did not follow that. I did see a news headline before streaming about supposedly like an emotional AI that you can like talk to in like a video audio chat. But that was just a headline, so I have no context. If you want to give more context, I'd love to talk about this more. Thought, is there anything on that Pi you don't need / can delete? If not, I vote switch the SD card and seeing how that goes. Let's take a look at how to see storage usage Linux. DF is disk free. The thing is that I don't understand what these different like things under file system are. Yeah, I want a graphic utility. Okay, let's turn on VNC so we can VNC into this. Oh goodness. Interfacing options. VNC. Enable VNC. Okay. Let's try now connecting VNC 192.168.1.72. Fun. Installing an open source VNC client that I know. You can tell that we've now gotten back to songs that I know very well from hundreds of hours of streaming. Ba-na-na-na. Okay, great. Personal tangent, the Finch app. I will come back to that after I try connecting. Host 192.168.1.72. Please work. Golly gee, okay. Let's look at this because it will be more fun. Oh, Finch. Yes, Finch. What about Finch? I used Finch at one point. I love Finch. I just found it last month. That is really cool. I have a complicated relationship with Finch that I don't especially want to get into on stream, but I'm glad it works for you. It was not the right solution for me at the time that I tried it. Okay, let's try this real VNC. VNC. Yes. No. File, new connection. Okay. 192.168.1.72. Hey. Will this show? Okay. Oh, goodness. Okay. Currently cannot currently show the desktop. Okay. Okay. Raspberry config, display options, VNC resolution. Okay. API, yeah, it's like talking to another person, and it helps in every aspect, like solving math code or other types of problems. It can understand your emotions by your voice. I am too jaded about AI promises. I got caught up in the hype when ChatGPT first went into public beta. And then I realized like a month later that like it didn't actually do anything well enough to justify using it in my day-to-day life. So I am hopeful for a future in which that sort of thing is true. But like the Gemini release, where for those you don't know, the latest Google Gemini release showed a demo video of them like drawing things and talking to the AI all in real time. And it turns out that it was all fake. that the video itself was a simulation of what it could do, but all of the responses were generated by like a text conversation. So I'll wait for journalists and people with more tech experience than me to take a look at that. But if it is something that you are passionate about, I am excited for you. Okay, let's open up VNC Viewer again. Let's try connecting to the Raspberry Pi again, please. Cannot currently show the desktop. Let's see if we can connect it, that it's rebooted. Okay. Change your screen resolution. Alex session. It's set to boot command prompt. That's why we're having issues with VNC. Oh, golly gee. Okay. Let's try this again. The thing is that there is no root partition shown here. Maybe I need to run this as root to see the root partition. You have 22H free. I am realizing, like, so we can see that now. But then what was that error? Because yeah, I thought 32 gigs should be enough for this. Oh, wait. We have 28 gigs assigned to this Docker instance in overlay. You'll notice again, there's no root here. It is in Docker overlay. Is there local memory that may have been depleted or partition limits? I honestly don't know about the partition limits. From a memory perspective, theoretically we have 4 gigs, which should be more than enough for this. Docker overlay containing all space. Containing all free space on disk. Docker system prune. Let's try this. Reclaimed a whole 20 kilobytes. Oh, goodness. But with patience, it finished. Try again, get clones. The problem is not that it was patience. It was that it was erroring out. It was that it did not finish. And it finishes on my Mac. We are currently 7 minutes over our estimates. 5.3 gigs. Let's try this. This is getting dangerous. It is interrupted, but after several tries works. Interesting. Let's try this again. It is the fact that it was okay the first time on my Mac that makes me feel iffy. But I'll do more. If this fails again, I'll look more into the error message. While this is going, I want to have a keep on screen option here, but I don't see it. Great. We're gonna go to Ars Technica, which is my personal favorite place to get tech and industry news, and they had a press release about ChatGPT 4.0, and we're going to talk about this while this is loading, unless any of y'all have another question. On Monday, OpenAI debuted GPT 4.0, O for Omni, a major new AI model that can ostensibly converse using speech in real time, reading emotional cues, and responding to visual input. It operates faster than OpenAI's previous best model, GPT-4 Turbo, and will be free for ChatGPT. Oh, okay. Seems like people are talking about internet issues. Which makes sense. Green Yoshi, I will talk about this in a sec. You are not being rude. It is right next to the router. Whoa. Let's try the non-Python version. You're in the server. Yes, I'm in the folder for server, but it shouldn't matter for pip install. Theoretically. While researching, try again, git clone. It's happened 3 times now. I would rather try finding a root cause. Download. Ooh, that. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, okay. The Raspberry Pi itself has a slower Wi-Fi. Like, why is the download so bad, but the upload so much better? This seriously seems like it is an internet issue with the Raspberry Pi. Okay, there we go. That's more appropriate. But it is inconsistent. Let's try the git clone again. And then we'll try adding like the buffer or whatever people are talking about in that GitHub if it fails again. Because it seems like it is an internet issue rather than a file storage issue, hopefully. I tried 5 times, but my mesh is losing packages. The thing is happening is that they're affecting the git clone. Yeah, of course. What if you turn off channel points, etc., that program for now? Theoretically, that should not impact the download speed because it is just connecting via IRC. It is very, very small in the amount of impact that it has on internet speeds. It is not like getting the Twitch stream or anything like that. What we might also do is clone it on, or like copy the version from my laptop over to the Pi. That'll be my next step if this fails again, actually. This is always a fun part of programming, of just waiting. While this is downloading, I'm going to talk briefly. Green Yoshi, I don't mean to be rude if it comes off that way. However, that sort of stuff just creeps me out in reference to the GPT article you were reading. I agree. And I don't know to what extent this is being a Luddite, but also, I still dislike not having a root cause like solution to this. I hate the idea of just rerun a command as many times as it takes, because that's not how this should work. Or the last thing to do, put a cable. Yes, I should put a cable, but I don't own an Ethernet cable, which is wild because I've worked in IT for 6 years now, and I don't own an Ethernet cable. Deranged. Okay, this might just work. That was when I was originally setting up the Raspberry Pi. I was like, oh yeah, where's my Ethernet cable? And then I'm like, oh, I don't own one. And buying Ethernet cables, they're so stupidly overpriced. Because I know how to end an Ethernet cable. And I just want to buy, like, seems past it? Yes. It looks like we're out of the woods here. I just want to buy a big spool of Cat 6 cable. And a crimper. And go to town. But also, I need, like, maybe at most 4 Ethernet cables ever. 1 for the server, 1 for my laptop, 1 for if I have like, I've thought a lot about running a like heavily stripped down version of Android TV on some device, but I don't even own a TV at this point. It's like, that would be another one. Building cables is our method, yes, but I don't know how much. I'm just going to let this run. This might be a mistake to look away. But how much does a spool of Cat 6 cable cost? I theoretically don't need Cat 6. I could just do Cat 5e. What? $84? $75? Yeah, an Ethernet cable at like... So let's go to Micro Center. This is like a regional US thing. There are some regions that have them, some that don't. I am lucky enough to have a Micro Center, and everyone loves Micro Center. My closest one is in Madison Heights. And if I search for Ethernet, look at this. For $5. Okay, that's actually a much better deal. Maybe it was just because I was looking at non-tech stores. But yeah, a 25-foot cable for $22. What was that spool? My neighbor gave me their old Roku TV, but I don't know if the cable's to connect it. Yeah, so I had a Fire Stick that I won in a hackathon, and my old roommates bought it off of me because I set it up to run some like custom streaming software that like had fewer ads and things like that. And that would be what I would want to set up again, but I wouldn't use a Fire Stick because a Fire Stick, you can remove and strip away some of Amazon stuff, but you can't remove all of it. So I would want some like open source fork of Android TV. While this is still running, I'm going to quickly talk about Stremio. Is a like media center platform that works on a whole bunch of different platforms, including a Fire Stick, and it is designed to basically compile streaming video from many different sources. So you can use any of the subscription services and pull it into one thing. And you can totally only use subscription services. There are no easily Googleable ways to use non-subscription services on Stremio with a wonderful UI and, all things considered, pretty good uptime. Because that would be piracy, and piracy doesn't exist because it's illegal and no one does things that are, well, it's not illegal in most places. Most places it's an ethical gray area, but that would be impossible. Okay. Let's see how this is going. Okay, still updating files. But yeah, 25 feet for $23. 50 feet for $40. Cat 6 spool. 100 feet for $90. That's actually not as good of a deal as I was hoping it would be. Here we go, 500 feet of cable for $75 for mono price. This, have enough Ethernet cable to last your life. Cat 6 supports 10 gigabit. Cat 6 speed, right? 10 gigabit per second for 164 feet. This would get you enough Ethernet cable for years and years and years and years. $75. Spending $40 for 50 feet of cable. Still running. Okay, it is increasing. But yeah, I don't know. This sort of thing freaks me out because, and I obviously haven't read too far into it. You've seen the amount that I've read. But just because I understand the limitations, but it is in the company's best interest to downplay the limitations, and the average user is not looking to have a conversation about the limitations and hallucinations of AI systems. So I feel like the ability for these sort of systems to be damaging is very high, and the benefit that they currently offer is very low. I don't know of good use cases for them that isn't spam adjacent. There are some places where, like, yeah, I think that is the extent that I can articulate right now on stream how I feel about it. Okay, hey, finally finished. Okay, that took forever and was extremely annoying. Copy the fake environment variables. I'm following the tutorial and then we will follow up with... So it is the fact that it is using Docker Compose, which is not what we used last time. I deliberately sidestepped Compose because it was slightly more complex than like a normal Docker. I'm a little bit nervous that this will set up 2 Docker instances rather than 2 images running side by side. That this will set up a separate Docker instance on my Raspberry Pi. I've been playing around with text to AI generated content images to try and understand if there's an overlap with human neurobiology and creativity. If you can give more context to that, that sounds really interesting. I've heard a lot of conversations secondhand. Wow, I am pushing this Raspberry Pi probably too hard. I've heard a lot of conversations about AI and creativity, but I've only ever heard them usually from artists' perspectives. So I'm curious your perspective here. Okay. Wow. Something is very wrong. It should not take this long. Welcome to the top of my head. Okay. I'm officially calling it. We are canceling that. And we're deleting it off the Pi. How do you remove a directory? It's like rm dash something to do it. It's the very scary command where you can remove anything. rm dash r. Great, okay. I have basically set the Raspberry Pi back to where it was before and we're exiting out. And we're gonna just run this on my Mac. Just to show what hosting ourselves can do without needing to deal with the limitations of the hardware that I have set up. I'm approaching it from my first BA Masters in Neurobiology. Let me see if I can come up with a concise elevator type pitch perspective. 1, if you can come up with that elevator pitch, I love it. And 2, I did not know you had a BA/Masters in Neurobiology. That is incredibly cool. Okay. We're gonna go into our project here, and we are going to open a terminal at this location. Just trying to clean stuff up a bit. Okay. We're gonna cd into supabase/docker cp.env.example Docker compose pull. And hopefully this should run a lot faster. Whoa. Oh, Docker is not running. Great. Let's run this again. Hey, it actually is responding and doing something. I might have said that too soon, because as soon as I said that, they all stopped. Haha, thanks. It's a great field. It sounds very interesting. I had a conversation with someone today who's in my computer science class that is a biophysicist, or a biophysicist major, biophysics major. It's interesting to hear about the intersectionality between different fields in computer science. There we go. It is the fact that we are at least getting some feedback and we were not on the Raspberry Pi that makes me think this is the right choice. I'm going to keep it running where it's a Supabase on Pi because that is basically what we're simulating here. But I theoretically could split, and because it is Supabase from Mac. I'm coming to understand why you use these sort of things hosted in the cloud. I do still think that I'm learning a lot from this, and I hope y'all are too. But part of that learning is, yeah, dang, it's a lot easier to just use someone else's cloud instance, click a couple buttons on a web app, and it's working. Dang. There we go. Okay, finally finished. Start the services up. In detach mode, theoretically, we don't need all of these, because we are not using analytics. We are not using storage. We are not using auth. We are not using functions. We are not using vector. But why am I doing this? I'm like, so, okay. This is a time where we take a step back. Where I might have gotten a little bit too stuck in one idea of a project, and even when that idea of the project wasn't working out, still was trying to do it. It makes no sense for me to host this locally anymore. There is no benefit to me hosting it locally on my Mac, because my Mac does not have 100% uptime. Not that that Raspberry Pi is 100% uptime, but it is more uptime than my laptop that I take with me places. So we really should just use the cloud version. I am disappointed, but that is my personal disappointment. I'm going to delete this, and we are going to set it up in the community cloud. Goodbye, Supabase local install. We have moved you to trash, and because you are large, I am going to empty my trash. Great. Okay. We are no longer looking for self-hosting. We are going to sign up for Supabase. I'm going to create an account off screen here. Do I have a Supabase account already? No. Did not think so, but always good to check. Ha, I just hit sign in. Oh God, what a horrible CAPTCHA. Please click on the entity you cannot buy in the market. Okay, we have an elevator pitch from Shem. Please click on the entity that does not use electricity. And it is lettuce, which is fun. But I don't want to show that because all of my personal stuff is up. Not great elevator pitch, LOL. That's a mood. I'm going to read it in a sec. Just want to make sure. Getting lost in my windows here. Ugh. Confirm email address. Great. Okay. Sign in. Oh, goodness. Please select objects that are designed or intended for use by kids. These CAPTCHAs. Oh, HCAPTCHA. Ooh, HCAPTCHA is my least favorite CAPTCHA provider. I get that it is like the open source alternative. I believe it's open source. But, ooh, HCAPTCHA I find so difficult to use. Okay. Think hemispheric lateralization of our brain/inner brains. Largely misunderstood, but real. Using words to generate an image, then refine the image with more words. The ability to clearly communicate with imagery instead of words would be a boon to human-machine direct communication. There's an intuition, logic, emotions. So how is this ever-evolving neural network similar to our own biology, and how does it, or not, relate to human creativity and ways to communicate? Not a great elevator pitch. That sounds really interesting. To restate back what I understand about that is the way that the human brain processes words and images is slightly different. And it is interesting to look at how a neural network processes words and images to see the similarity or dissimilarity to how the human brain works. That's the thing that I've taken away from this pitch. Feel free to correct me if I'm totally off base here. We are going to create a new project. And this is so much easier than hosting it ourselves. This project is called Warcross, after the book that inspired it. I'm going to create a password. Yes, very good and much more concise, thanks. Hey, I'm not the neurobiologist here. That sounds really interesting, Shem. Password is strong. Create new project. Ha 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 ha. Okay. We have our project. One of the things that is nice about this is we are able to use it for free without any like credit card attached. Unlike Google Cloud, which usually requires a credit card to get started. I don't believe Firebase directly does, but if you want to use something like Cloud Functions, you do. I'm going to let it finish setting up. Great, some cool example projects, a lot of good client libraries. I have a project in mind which may likely need AI text-to-image features. However, this is still much in the brainstorming phase. I think that there are interesting use cases for text-to-AI. One of the things that I was thinking about, and I believe there was a live stream that Emily did about this, which is why I thought of it. There is a Roll20, I believe. Yes, Roll20 is an online like tabletop role-playing game dashboard, and at one point I believe John at MLH was creating a project for doing AI image generation for, like, if you describe an NPC or a monster, being able to just drag that right in, which I think that is an interesting and fun use case. I think that, like many things with AI, you can also support independent artists who've created icon packs for this sort of thing and have like a consistent style pack and things like that. There are other options, but I do think that that is the instance where AI generation is where I can see it, where it is small, it is not for profit, it is people trying to have fun and using these as tools to that end. That's where I don't have any moral qualms about it. Hey, okay, our project is fully connected or set up. We have our database, we have our Postgres, we have auth, we have real-time, we have edge functions, storage unable to connect. That we aren't dealing with that at first. So let's take a look at the JavaScript client library API, because now we have it working. This is the endpoint that we were trying to get to with our self-hosted version, only, ta-da, it's in the cloud. Okay, you can install Supabase.js in the terminal. I believe we already did this, but let's try it again. We can do it via CDN as well, but just for the sake of using something that, oh, wait. Aha. Speedrun timer here. Let's get some splits in here. We have gotten the equivalent of it on our Pi, and we've gotten the equivalent of it on our Mac, because we've gotten the dashboard open. That was what I was looking for on the Mac. So we are currently 20 minutes over where we were hoping to be. We are npm installing Supabase. Great, installed. Initialize. Create a new client for the browser. You initialize a new Supabase client using the create client method. The Supabase client is your entry point to the rest of the Supabase functionality and is the easiest way to interact with everything we offer within the Supabase ecosystem. So here is, if we were using Svelte Kit, we would be doing this outside of our one page. But because we were doing this one page, we can just copy this, thankfully, and put this in our script tag up here. Oh, I hate you. I hate you. Not y'all talking to VS Code right now. You'll notice that styling for this is spaces too. And I don't know if that is the default for Svelte. I don't believe it is. Or if that is because that is the default for my C++ class, or my class that uses C++ at the University of Michigan. And 2 spaces is not enough for my brain to be able to track indentation very well. I like 4 spaces, but I don't know VS Code well enough to adjust this automatically because I don't have like a prettier or some styling thing set up. And I don't want to configure that today. That is not the point of this, as much as how I usually just go right into that. Supabase URL. So what is our project URL is this. One of the things that I like about this so far is that is very easy. And our public API key. I have not needed to deal with weird environment variable stuff yet. Uh-oh. The way that they set this up is using environment variables. And y'all know that I struggle sometimes with environment variables. This is again an instance of jank versus doing it the right way. I'm gonna look this up. JavaScript, process.env, and Node.js. Process does not require, it's automatically available. In the same way that you can access custom environment variables, experimental support for env files. Process core module of Node provides the env property, which hosts all the environment variables that were set at the moment the process was started. This is suitable for testing. However, for production, you'll probably be configuring some bash scripts. Okay, let's try using the experimental env file here, because that is what makes the most sense for me. New file, .env, and in it, we are going to define wait a sec. Yeah, Supabase key. Because this is public and anonymous, so theoretically it should be fine. Okay. How do we import that? Process.env dot. Okay, that's here. We'll use the structure that they talked about here because they are better developers than I. Excuse me, is this not how you define? A type in TypeScript? Or am I getting C++ pollution in my brain? Oh God, what is this, Google? I am polluted. Okay. What? Typo annotations can only be used in TypeScript files. Oh, goodness. What is happening? Okay. Svelte. TypeScript. Annotations can only be used in TypeScript files. So the language bar. The language bar says Svelte. Aha. That's why. Forgot about this. Next stream isn't for another 4 hours and 20 minutes. You're all good. Okay, that's good to know. I had another thing tonight after this, but that got canceled. Undefined is not a string. If I undo this, though, we have the issue here where it could be undefined. Oh, there was a thing, TypeScript not undefined. There's a syntax for this. The non-null assertion operator. There we go. Exclamation point is placed after the variable or expression. So if I do this. Great. There we go. I don't like the inline JS. I'm used to inline JS scripts being at the bottom. Let me double check. I believe they're at the top in Svelte. Yeah, top script, bottom style. Apologies. Great, okay. So we have our Supabase client. Ah. Oh, no, apology. This is my first experience with Svelte. Totally fine. I apologize for things like that because it is always off-putting to expect one thing and get another. And I know this because last night I was working on, again, I've mentioned this a couple of times now because it's a big change in my life, working on my project for my computer science class. And it is my first ever experience using C++. And so much is just slightly different from what I am used to. It is maddening. I get that there are decisions behind it. And one of the things that I'm getting out of this class is learning C++. And also, I miss Python. Okay. TypeScript support. Auto-based TypeScript queries. With TypeScript, Supabase JS detects things like not null constraints and generated columns. Nullable columns are typed as T null when you select the column. Generated columns will show a type error when you insert it. Select a project. Okay, we don't need to generate and download types right now because we don't have anything in our table. These types are generated from your database schema. Using JavaScript TypeScript type definitions, you can supply the type definitions to Supabase JS like so. Import database from database create client of type database. Okay, good to know. Helper types for tables and joins. You can use the following helper types to make the generated TypeScript types easier to use. Sometimes the generated types are not what you expect. For example, a views column may show up as nullable when you expect it to be not null. Using typefest, you can override types like so. I have not heard typefest before. Okay. Import merge deep from typefest. Database equals merge deep, database standard, public views. Okay, so we can change things ourselves. I'm not going to touch this yet because we don't have a database yet. I'm going to scroll past TypeScript support. There we go. Okay, fetch data. We're looking to, well, first we need to create a table. Haha. When I hear Supabase, and I do not know how to pronounce that, I'm assuming that it is related to bouillon, but I'm Googling this. Is a traditional provincial, I feel like I'm pronouncing that wrong, fish soup originating in the port city of Marseille.
Bouillabaisse.
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 Bouillabaisse. Oh, British. Okay.
Bouillabaisse. Bouillabaisse.
Interesting. Okay. I want to keep saying Supabase because at Firebase, Supabase, it's Supabase. Okay. I believe we are going to want to create a table first. We've connected, example projects. Okay. Let's go to our table. Schema, public. I don't know what any of these are. Okay. New table. Name. It has been a while since I have dealt with SQL. Okay. This is our timestamp log, or our Unix log. We're going to enable real time because eventually we will want to try using that. Columns, ID, created at. Great. Foreign keys. Oh, I forgot about foreign key. Ooh. Add it to the list. I need to relearn my SQL because, SQL is very cool. Okay, I don't believe we need any of that. Whatever it is, it's making me hungry. Ha 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 ha. I appreciate that, Pharaoh. I always appreciate a good pun. Column name, timestamp. And what type is it? Now I wonder, timestamp here. See, but that's created at timestamp type, date, time of day, no time zone, time of day including time zone, date and time, no time zone, date and time including time zone. How to store a Unix timecode. Timestamp, apologies. It's not a log file. Field type for Unix timestamp. Okay. Small int, integer, big int. Okay, thank you, person. This is a wonderful Stack Overflow here. So the good news is that Supabase is using PostgreSQL, which is well known. So we have a couple of different options here. We have small int, and big int. Integer is your standard Unix epoch, but you'll notice that that ends in 2038. So we are going to use a big int. Yeah, integer is a decent choice for the moment, but your software will blow up in the year 2038. The Y2K apocalypse has nothing on the year 2038 problem. So we're going to use a big int for this. Default value, null. Yes? Yes. We don't need any foreign keys. We aren't relating it to anything else. Save. Oh, I missed that. Oh, I took a database class years ago, and it was fun. I actually really enjoyed modeling data relationships in SQL. This is another example of things that I've avoided because I'm scared of them, but are actually quite nice. Okay, we have gone over. We have 10 minutes left in the time that I'm getting, like I'm scheduled for. 2038 is the new Y2K. I actually had a coworker talk to me about that just like a couple days ago. It was very interesting. Okay. Add new column. We don't need a new column. Insert. Let's add a new row. Timestamp. Let us npm run dev. And let's generate one right now. Ooh, that makes me mad. Everything opens by default in Chrome, which is what it should be, because that is my non-public facing. What is happening here? I took the database class during COVID, so did I. And welcome, Capsule. First time chat. I saw that you followed earlier, but this is because I'm defining process.env, but I have not built our env into our build process here. venv. Okay. Vite loads env files. I should have looked at Vite in hindsight. I looked at Node, but we're using Vite as our build solution. Vite uses .env to load additional environment variables from the following files in your environment directory. To prevent accidentally leaking env variables to the client. Okay, so what we actually want is env.local. And we want it to be Vite. And to get it, import meta. Great. That should actually work now. If we try this again and go here again. Oofa doofa. Okay, unrecoverable HMR error in app. Uh-oh. Oof indeed. I am just realizing how weird I say oofa doofa. And I don't know where I picked that up from, but it is a thing that I say. I'm realizing that I'm like, why do I look different on camera? It's because my chair went down. I was like, my camera's always in the same spot every stream. Why do I feel so low in frame? Okay. I don't know what an unrecoverable HMR error is. Oh, that's the hot reload, isn't it? So I have some svelte error. Oh, uncaught error Supabase key is required. That's what it is. I was looking at the wrong thing. So I'm not importing Supabase key correctly. I'm gonna comment out that. Great. And that's better. Oh, what is happening? Oh, haha. It's because we used ShadCN UI, so we lost all of our styling. Okay. Supabase key is not defined. Undefined. Import meta. Excuse me. Okay. Vite exposes env variables on the special import.meta.env object, which are statically replaced at build time. Some built-in variables are available in all cases. Vite uses .env to load additional environment variables. I'm just realizing that we are about to run out of time. Processing whether or not I have time to run over today. Dang, unfortunately I do not. Okay, we are going to pick this up next time that we are live. We are going to open up Splitter. We are going to pause and we are going to save. And if we resume, oh, okay. Well, speed run timer not doing exactly what I want it to do, but that is going to be the end of what we can cover today. We will deal with my environment variable setup next time. Today, we did not get a whole lot of productive things done other than learning. Our code did not progress very far, but I learned a lot, and I hope you did too, about the process of setting up things to run locally. Specifically, I learned that my network is weird and that things take a lot more storage space than I expected when trying to set them up. And also,
good job.
Thank you, Shem, and thank you, Pharaoh. I had a very fun time with this one too. That it is very, like, the cloud services are popular for a reason. That it was so much faster for me to spin this up on the cloud, and I could fit within the free tier. And it is cool to use Supabase because if something were to happen with the free tier, it is open source. I could host it myself, but hosting it myself as the first step is the wrong step to do when you are trying to learn something. That is what I've learned today, that the appeal for me of hosting things myself, of owning everything myself, of everything being open source is wonderful, and also not where I'm at as a developer. Some interesting things that I've learned. I hope you've learned as well. People are saying, Green Yoshi, thank you. Very informative and fun. I appreciate that. With that, I'm going to open up the schedule here. I wish that I could go long today, but I have a very, very big, well, it's not a very, very big project. It is the first project that is due in my class, and I have not been a student for 2.5 years, so I'm a little bit stressed, and it's due tomorrow at 8 p.m. So I want to make sure that I give myself plenty of time to make sure that I finish that. Yes, much learning as always. I'm very glad. What is coming up after this? This was... Wow. MATLAB in the real world is at 4 hours from now, at 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. So we have another 4 hours until there's another stream. But yes, give yourself plenty of time and try to have fun with it rather than stressing. You got this, Timur. Thank you, Green Yoshi. I have been. It is the first project in our class, so I have I've been overdoing it in terms of my test cases, but I'm having fun with it. But I've been definitely treating it as like, I'm writing like real production level code. I need to make sure. And one of the functions that we needed to write was literally just returning the size of a vector in C++. And I wrote a stress test for it before realizing how, like, oh, this does not need a stress test. Shem, go procrastinate for a few hours, sleep a little, then you do your project. Thank you. That is what I probably will take a break between this and working on my project. But I do hope that I will not procrastinate it too much. I'm like 80% of the way done. Anyway, thank you all so much for coming. I had a lot of fun with this, and I'm really excited to follow up. When is the next stream? I believe the next stream is tomorrow. No, it is Wednesday the 15th, 4 to 6 p.m. So same time as this, just 2 days from now, where we will be finishing up. It's my last stream of the week. So we'll be finishing up with Supabase, but it will definitely be coming back for future projects. And I think SQL is definitely coming back for future projects where we are going to do some SQL stuff, because that is cool and interesting, and I like it. So that is the end of the stream. I've just gone over rambling, but thank you all so much for coming. I'm glad that you enjoyed it and had fun. Until next time, happy hacking and keep it crispy, y'all. Bye, y'all. Take care, Capsule. I'm calling you out specifically because it is the first stream of yours, and I just want to say, keep coming back. It was really nice having you here. Wikipedia editing is cool database work. It is, Shem. 404, thank you and be blessed. Thank you, Pharaoh. Thank you, Green Yoshi. Bye, y'all.